What's going on, everyone? Welcome to Monday Manna. I'm hopefully happy and hopefully you guys had an awesome week, have had an awesome time, and you have been enjoying your day. And so we are going to get started in our session on this evening. And so whether you're watching it now, you're watching on the replay on YouTube, or we're back on Facebook. And so we will be able to be streaming there as well on this evening. So you can throw comments inside of the chat and we can respond to those. All right. So let's go ahead and get started on this evening. We have been, last week we talked about excellence, and I want to actually go a little further in that on this evening. So we want to deal with the title on tonight of cultivating a spirit of excellence. And the more that I'm reading this, the more that I'm studying this, the more that I am becoming more engaged in this word called excellence. The more that I'm discovering exactly what it is that I believe that God is trying to tell us in this season, and what He's really trying to really get us to hone in on. I believe, especially for myself, is in that everything that we do in every aspect of our lives, we need to do it with the spirit of excellence. Throughout the Bible, we read about these people. We've heard stories about these people, but I don't think that we pay enough attention to, one, why some of these people were actually called, how they were called, how they got to the position in which they were in. And most of the time, if not all of the time, it was them operating in the spirit of excellence in everything they're doing. You can go back and look at David. David was tending to the sheep. That was his job. He was working it. Even after he got anointed, um, he still is tending to sheep. He doesn't stop because of his title. He doesn't stop because of his position. He continues to do the work. We talked about a few other people in the Bible. Last few weeks, we've been talking about certain people. They've all, Daniel had the spirit of excellence, even up until the point in which he got put into the lion's den. And when he got put into the lion's den, when he came out, he was still operating in the spirit of excellence. It didn't go, it doesn't shift, it doesn't change based upon how you feel. It's always exactly what it is, in that same way. They don't change. They don't go up and down based upon who's around, based upon the positioning or the title, or based upon what they're after. They are the same people in and out, day in, day out. It doesn't matter. All right. And so we want to talk about this. I really want us to begin operating in this. I think that there's become a lack within the church, as far as and somewhat across the board with believers, is that we've gotten so consumed with what it is that we can get, and God blessing us, that we have gotten lazy in how we operate. And so I think this right here will be a great moment for us to be able to grow from. All right. Um, Genesis chapter 39. We'll begin reading at verse number 2. I'll be doing it from the New King James Version on this evening. And so it says, the Lord was with Joseph, and he was a successful man, and he was in the house of his master, the Egyptian. And his master saw that the Lord was with him, and that the Lord made all he did to prosper in his hand. So Joseph found favor in the sight, and served him. Then he made him overseer of his house, and all that he had he put under his authority. So it was, from the time that he had made him overseer of his house and all that he had, that the Lord blessed the Egyptian's house for Joseph's sake. And the blessing of the Lord was on all that he had in the house and in the field. Verse 6. Thus he left all that he had in Joseph's hand, and he did not know what he had except for the bread which he ate. Now Joseph was handsome in form and appearance. And it came to pass after these things that his master's wife cast longing eyes on Joseph. And she said, lie with me. But he refused, and he said to his master's wife, look, my master does not know what is with me in the house. and he has committed all that he has to my hand. There's no longer, or there is no one greater in this house than I, nor has he kept back anything from me but you, because you are his wife. How can I do this great wickedness and sin against God? And so it was, as she spoke to Joseph day by day, that he did not heed her to lie with her or to be with her. All right. So that is our text for today. So Genesis 39, verses 2 through 10. That is what we just got through reading. And we're talking about cultivating a spirit of excellence. And here in our text today, as we read, we know first and foremost, or you may not know, but Joseph, this is the same Joseph that got thrown into the pit, got sold into slavery by his brothers. This is the Joseph that had the coat of many colors. He had favor with his dad. The siblings or the other brothers did not like him for this particular reason. And so they did these things. And so now we get to verse 30, chapter 39, and we understand that the Lord is with Joseph. And because the Lord is with Joseph, this is what we understand about him, that he's successful. He's not successful because he's doing everything and trying to work every single angle to be successful. He's successful, number one, because the Lord is with him. And anytime, no matter how big or how small it is, whenever the Lord is with us, I want you to understand it. Whenever he's with you, you are successful. Success is not based upon, I know, man, we like to put success based upon how much money, how many cars, how big of a house, how many promotions you got, all of these wonderful things. But success is based upon the Lord being, whenever God is with you, whenever the Lord is with you, wherever you go, you are a success. Okay. And so he's with him, and he's in the master's house. And as he's in there, the master begins to see that the Lord is with him. Notice that you don't always have to go out telling everybody on the mountaintop that God is with you. You don't have to go out telling everybody that everything and all of this and look at me, look at me. People begin to see and they understand based upon how you work. Okay. They'll know that you're successful. They'll know that the hand of the Lord is upon you and how you operate. And sometimes we don't operate in the proper context. And so people don't really know that the Lord is with us, because we don't actually show based upon how we act or how we work. And so in verse 3, the master saw that the Lord was with him and that the Lord made everything that he do prosper in his hand. It becomes very simple when you actually do what you're supposed to do. It goes back to being obedient. When you are obedient to God and you do the things that you're supposed to do, the Lord is always going to make sure that you prosper in everything that you do. And so we'll get so caught up in what if I fail, because that's the trick of the enemy. What if I fail? What if this doesn't work? What if these people don't support? What if this happens? What if this happens? That we negate the fact that if we're obedient unto God, he's one going to make sure we're successful, but everything that we put our hands to is going to prosper. It's always going to work, because we know and we read it and we quote it that all things work together for the good. All right. All things work together for good, them who are called. All right. And so we get here in verse 3, everything that he does, it prospers. So Joseph found favor in his sight. Now, when he found favor in his sight, Joseph does not stop working. Joseph doesn't go back. Joseph doesn't say, hey, you know what? I'm good. I've made it. I've arrived. Everybody come serve me. No, he continues to serve even though he's already found favor. So when we get favor, that's not our indication to stop working. That's our indication to know that God is with us, and we need to continue to keep working. So then he got a promotion. So he gets promotion, gets promoted to the overseer of his house. After he does this, and everything that he gave him, he put under his authority. All of this, he's not charging him. He's not going back to ask him for more money. He's not having other conversations. He's just simply doing the work. And he's doing the work to the best of his ability with what he has. He's not trying to go get more stuff so that he can look like he's doing the part. He's actually just doing it. And everything that he puts his hands to, it prospers underneath the spirit of excellence. So while he's doing it, we get to verse 5 that the overseer just gives him everything to the point where he doesn't even know what he has anymore. He trusts Joseph so much that you just go do it. Only thing I'm caring about is what I'm about to eat. Joseph is running everything because he has an understanding. The master has an understanding that whatever he gives him, he's going to do it right. So the question is, with what God has given me, does he know that I'm going to do it right? With what God is giving me, he knows that I'm capable of doing it, but is he reassured that I'm going to do it? Because we'll get caught up in, I don't want to do it, and I don't want to do it because I don't want to disappoint God. Well, not doing it is disappointing God. But if we just could sit there and just do it, it'll all work out. Okay. So we get to verse 6. He left everything. Joseph was handsome. We learned that Joseph was handsome in form and appearance. And here's what happens when you're operating under the spirit of excellence. Here's what's going to happen. And it came to pass that after these things, the master's wife cast longing eyes on Joseph. And she said, lie with me. Joseph has everything at his beck and call. He's running everything. He's the boss. He's the CEO, if you will. He's the overseer of everything, of this entire man's operations. And while he's doing it, here comes the temptation. Here comes the challenge. Here comes something that's trying to get you off your course. And whenever it comes, you have to realize that it's coming because everything that I'm doing is working. And if I stop it, then everything that I'm doing is no longer going to work. So he gets there. He was like, nah, verse 8, she's saying, come lie with me. He's saying in verse 8, we learned that he refused. And if you are able to refuse the attacks of the enemy, you're able to sit there and say, you know what? Nope, I know what it is. I know what this is. I know that this is a trick. I know that this is something that's trying to bring havoc. I know this is something that's just trying to get me off course. All right. So when I look at my phone and I see this message, I know it's something that's trying to get me off course. When I get on social media and I'm scrolling and I see something, I nope, this is something that's trying to get me off course. All right. When I pick up my Bible, and every time I pick up my Bible, somebody's calling or somebody's doing something. Something that's trying to get me off. There's a reason why the enemy is trying to attack you. He's not trying to attack you because you're so just, hey, yeah, this is no, it's a threat to what he's trying to accomplish. And if you're a threat to it, he's going to try to attack you. And when he tries to attack you, that's when you have to recognize, I'm going to refuse this. I'm not going to take the bait. Now, if you go fishing, the fish, they can choose whether or not they're going to take the bait. There could be a bunch of fish in the water, that in the ocean, but wherever you're fishing at, right, in the river, while you're fishing, there could be a bunch there. And then there's some fish that may try to take the bait because they're hungry and they're desperate. But there's some that's like, nope, I know what that is, so I'm going to swim away from this because this is not really what I'm supposed to have. And that's how we have to be. We can see the enemy, and we can't become so desperate in wanting to have a title or a position or some type of platform that we take the bait off of anything. We got to get to a place in which we refuse the enemy's attacks and we refuse what he's trying to offer us because it's not going to bring glory unto God. All right. So he refuses it. It says to the master's wife this: my master does not know what is with me in the house. Look, your husband don't even know what I'm doing, what I'm capable of. And he has committed all that he has in my hand. The latter part of that is, and he tells him, like, I can't be with you because you his wife. But that latter part is, how can I do this great wickedness and sin against God? How can I do this? How can I take this offer and I'm sitting? He's not even talking about the husband. He's talking about God. And when we make a decision, let me see if I can come off of this. When we make a decision, when we decide that, hey, no, nope, that's not really what I want to do. I would rather be connected to God. I'd rather do his will. I'd rather operate in the spirit of excellence. I choose excellence over this moment in time. Okay. I choose God over this instant satisfaction right now. I don't want the flesh to win, so I'm going to choose God. When we do that, this is what we're making. We're making this decision. So in verse 10, it says, so it was that she spoke to Joseph day by day. This wasn't a one-time thing. She continuously came at Joseph, and Joseph did not heed her. You know why he did not? One, because he knew what he had. He knew what was promised to him. He knew how he was supposed to operate in the spirit of excellence. He knew what the visions that he had. All of those things, this is not a part of it. And anything that's not according to the word or not lining up with the word, we got to be able to say, nope, I'm good with that. Okay. So how do we do it? How do we do it? How do we operate? Or how do we cultivate a spirit of excellence? Number one, commit to integrity. Number one is commit to integrity. Let your actions reflect your values and faith. Commit to integrity. Joseph had to have integrity because he could have he was running the business. So this moment wouldn't have been anything different. He could have done these things, but when you have the spirit of excellence and you are committing to integrity, it doesn't matter who's around. You're going to do what's right in everything that you do. So if I'm supposed to be to work at this time, I'm operating the spirit of excellence. It doesn't matter what the position is. If I'm supposed to be here to sweep up the trash, I'm here to sweep up the trash, and I'm gonna be the best trash sweeper that I could ever be. There's not going to be anything on my grounds because I'm operating under excellence. And if I'm operating under that, it's not for me to do it for man, but I'm doing it unto God. And as I'm doing it unto God, God would then open up doors. God would then create moments that allow me to go through doors or go through places and get in opportunities that I myself may not have even thought about. Joseph wasn't doing this so that he could become the overseer. Joseph was doing it because this is what I'm supposed to do. Right. So number one, we got to commit to integrity. And we let our actions reflect your values and faith. And the next thing is we got to persevere. Stay committed to your goals, even when faced with challenges. Joseph had the big challenge. And maybe your challenge isn't like the size of Joseph's challenge. Maybe your challenge is just something unique, something different. Um, but your challenge is big to somebody else. Your challenge is great to somebody else. And so what you're dealing with, what you're battling, what you're trying to overcome is still something big, but you got to persevere through it. I know it's easy for us to not do it. And I was having a conversation with my wife, and she was saying that she heard somebody say it, and I've heard somebody say it a while back. You still got to do it even if you're scared, but you just got to do it scared. You're still doing it. You're just going to do it while you're scared. And if you can do it while you're scared, if you can operate in that avenue, even though you may not want to, but you got to do what's right. And when we can do what's right, and God, of course, number one, will always get the glory. So my challenge to you tonight is that number one, you got to do it, but why not do it to the best of your ability? If he's gifted you, he's called you, he's anointed you, he's appointed you, he's positioned you. We're not doing it for the title. And a lot of times we'll get so consumed with the title. We'll get so consumed with doing it because of the accolades. We'll get so caught up in doing it because of the money or the prestige, that we forget that we're really doing it for God. And so there have been moments in which I'm saying like, nah, I'm not, I'm going to wait to do this until I get this, until the moment is perfect. No, I'm going to do it with what I have to the best of my ability. And it doesn't matter like, oh, well, I got to wait till I get all of these things. I got to wait till I get this lined up. When I get this, then I'll be able to do this. Well, what are you doing now? It's, well, when I get $1 million, I'll buy this. Well, what are you doing now to show that you can be good stewards over what you have? And being good stewards over what you have is not just with money. It's with your calling. It's with your assignment. It's with your obedience unto God. Those things are the vital moments that cause you to continue to walk and operate in the spirit of excellence. It's not always easy, but it's easy when you're obedient. We make it complicated, and we like to complicate things by allowing us to think that we're smarter than the one who's called us. But the ability to be obedient no matter what, to have that integrity, to learn from what Joseph did. And Joseph leaves her, but he leaves, but she keeps his coat. And as she keeps his coat, everybody knows who he is based upon the coat. But Joseph doesn't no longer need the coat to verify or validate who he is with where he's going. He's already been in the pit. Now he's up in the palace. He's running the palace. He's operating in the palace. But everybody knows him based upon his coat. So everybody knows you based upon something. And that very thing is something that we'll hold on to. But when we let that go, we're saying that this is no longer who I am. I don't need that to validate my anointing. I don't need that to validate who I am. I just need you to know that I didn't do what you said I did. And even if you don't believe me, I know that I did it for God. And that's the challenge for us today. That's the challenge for us tonight, is that no matter what you're doing, if you're operating in the spirit of excellence, why you're operating in the spirit of excellence in everything that you do. So if God is telling you, look, go start a prayer group. It doesn't matter if 2 people show up. It doesn't matter if 3 people show up. It doesn't matter if it's just you. Can you be on time? Can you be in position? Can you do what he's telling you to do? Well, this person didn't support me. It doesn't matter. Are you able to do it? And then God will begin to open up doors. And you're like, well, how am I ended up here? I'm here, and everybody else, my dad, everybody else thinks I'm dead, but I'm in this position. I'm in this palace. I'm doing, and I'm operating. I'm doing the things that I'm supposed to do for God. And I'm going to let God handle everything else. And that's where we have to be this week. All right. So I pray something was said that will inspire you, uplift you. If you enjoyed it, somebody else can benefit from it. Don't forget to share it with them. If you haven't yet, don't forget to like our page, subscribe, turn on that notification bell so you'll know when we're popping on, and you can give us a listen. And if you catch it on the replay, I pray there's something that's said for you guys as well. All right. So until next week, I will see you later. And you guys have an awesome, phenomenal, great week. Until next time.